Several months since a series of strikes within Nigerian universities, tonight we'll speak with the Minister of Labour on the way forward after weeks of impasse over negotiations, leaving resumption of the schools in limbo. And the Speaker of the Imo State House of Assembly, Shiji Collins, was today removed and replaced by Paul Emezim. Hello everyone and welcome to Politics Today on Channels Television. I'm Sean Wakimbaloye. Let's first get you some updates on some of the stories we're following for you. Before we get into that conversation for tonight, the Speaker of the Imo State House of Assembly, Honorable Shiji Collins, has been impeached over alleged financial impropriety, high-handedness and gross misconduct. The motion for his impeachment was supported by 19 out of the 27 members of the Assembly. Paul Emezim from Onuimo local government area has been elected as the new speaker.
Are you okay?
And let's also tell you that Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has fixed Saturday, December the 5th, to conduct pending by-elections in 11 states across the country. The by-elections will hold in Bayelsa, Borno, Cross River, Imo, Lagos, Plateau, Zamfara, and Kogi states. This follows the resignation or death of some members of the National Assembly in the 8th state. The commission states that the security situation, which caused a suspension of the exercise, has abated. Let's get into our conversation for tonight, everyone. Many Nigerian universities have been shut due to worker strike. University lecturers, technicians, and most of those who were working in the university system. The university lecturers are on strike after weeks of stalemate over negotiations with the federal government on the 5-point demand. The non-academic staff union and senior staff association, NASU and SANU, are also agitating over their own demands. The federal government said that the contentious end allowances promised to be released for the striking academic staff union of universities ASU will also be shared with non-academic staff unions. In view of the lingering disagreements and continued strike action, where does this leave the students, and will the federal government and lecturers or non-academic staff workers come to agreement soon? SANU and NASU agitations are worsening the crisis in the universities. Let's now speak with the Minister of Labour and Employment, Senator Chris Ngige, who is in our Abuja studios. He joins us tonight to speak on some of these issues. Honorable Minister, many thanks for joining us tonight. It's 8 months since university workers, lecturers are being on strike. Students are at home idle. The strike, especially that of the university lecturers, has hit a deadlock severally. What has made the resolution of this disagreement so difficult?
Well, thank you, Sean, for having me. I have been busy, like you said, a lot of strikes. The Senior Staff Association in Nigerian universities have also gone on what they call warning strike, which they did about 2 weeks ago. Same goes with non-academic staff, and then ASU, who have been on strike since March 9th, 2020, before the coronavirus pandemic enveloped the country. And even when people in the state universities and private universities were teaching virtually, ASU members in the federal universities refused to go back to work. This is where we have found ourselves. They have made about 9-point demands. 9. And as I speak to you today, about 6 of those demands have been met fully. I used to call it 8-point demand because that's what is in their letter, their initial letter of ultimatum. According to labor laws, what you call the trade dispute note. Now, federal government had engaged them in March. And when the pandemic came, they were locked down and everything. I invited them for a virtual meeting. They said they couldn't do virtual meeting, that their members were scattered all over the country and that they need to sit together at any time they are discussing. I had to wait. Government had to wait. So we now resumed the renegotiation in October. As a matter of fact, it was the Senate president who, being a former member, I don't know whether an ASU member on sabbatical, that initiated the peace process again. And I thank him very much for doing that. And we spoke, to ourselves at that first meeting, very truthfully. We were very open because they had also complained to him that I don't like them. And I said, no, there's nothing about likeness. I'm speaking the truth, and I like always to speak the truth. And so I went there because I'm the conciliator, and in conciliation with the ILO, you are allowed to do what is called bipartite plus negotiation. So the National Assembly is another arm of government. I'm not supposed ordinarily to go there or discuss labor conciliations there, but we have to do a plus. And we had some agreement. First, we agreed that the allowances they were asking for, and academic allowances, and the revitalization fund, and the issue of the payment model to be adopted are the critical issues to the discussion. So we arrived at UTAS, which is University Transparency Accountability Solution, should be given a trial. We had, as a government, agreed on this even before Mr. President. We want homegrown things, local content. Executive Order 3 and Executive Order 5 are in that direction. So we agreed with Mr. Senate President and the Accountant General, who was at the meeting, that we go and test UTAS as a payment model. Accountant General of the Federation and Minister of Finance, how much do you have to pay? They have said that the revitalization fund for the universities, we have not been up to date in what we agreed to pay. But now that we are ending COVID, even as we know that the economy is in doldrums and that how much can you afford to pay? Outstanding money was calculated because we had what we call a memorandum of action entered into in 2019. So what was outstanding to them was the November 2019 payment and August 2020. 20 billion naira each for the university system. Accountant General said, I will do 30 billion. I have conferred with my minister, who unfortunately was in a meeting with some foreign partners and couldn't be there that day. So 30 billion, they said no, that they want their 40 billion, which is the outstanding. We conferred. They didn't have the cash. So I told ASU, take 30 billion, 10 billion, we'll stagger it. You get it maybe in February 2020. It was clear from that meeting, and it was made clear there, I said it, that this is for the unions in the university system. Because oftentimes in formal negotiations, when you agree on something, another union will come and start demanding another thing. So I said, Accountant General, whatever you offer is for the university system. And we all agreed on that. The next day, we went to test UTAS, or accept or receive UTAS at Accountant General's office. I had to leave everything I was doing to be present. I don't want to be told stories. I don't want to be told stories. My Minister of State came. The Accountant General was there. Executive Secretary, National University Commission, and we were all there. It was displayed. We invited people from NIDA. We invited people from Galaxy Backbone, which are the digital economy side of government, to do what we can call a watching brief. And after that, we told NIDA, this is it. So we discussed with ASU. And we made it possible for them to get to NIDA and discuss. After the discussion, they wrote me back and said that NIDA needed a confirmation from the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy for an approval for him to receive officially their system, the UTAS, and then subject it to integrity tests. And we did that. I wrote immediately the next day, and the Minister of Communication replied me, same day, granting permission to NIDA to receive the system. Then we rescheduled our meeting for the 21st. As we did all this meeting, the chairman, Senate Committee on Tertiary Education, Senator Keita, was representing the Senate President in all those, even the negotiations. So we came back and looked at the items or their demands seriatim one by one, starting from revitalization. Federal government offered them 20 billion out of the negotiation we did in 2013 and said, this is to show you good faith. Because there was a committee that had looked into the needs assessment and have done a workshop on how funds can be generated. Because revitalization cannot be done through the budget. The country is even running a deficit budget. So how do you take money from the budget that is deficit and do revitalization? This is irrespective of the fact that TET fund is a revitalization intervention fund. So that was where we are. Again, the 30 billion, they now said it is for ASU members alone. That they have discussed with their members and their different organs, and they say, no, the money is for them alone. Accountant General said, we don't have any other money to offer on the table. So I told ASU, you are reneging. Convince your members, that's why you're leaders. So that this money will be shared. There's a template already with Ministry of Education and the National University Commission for sharing of such fund. It had happened not once, not twice, about 3 times before. The time it did not happen, we had a strike in our hands from SANU and NASU. And even though ASU went back to work, they couldn't access the classrooms. They couldn't access the laboratories. They couldn't access the lecture halls, the libraries. At one of the universities, electricity was removed by the mechanical and public works section of the university. In some universities, gates were locked. Some members were not even allowed in. We had to break that logjam by engaging these other 3 unions. And that year, we had to up the 20 billion place for allowances to 28 billion. We had to add extra 8 billion. We don't want a repeat. So I told ASU members, who are my friends, because we are now friends, because we have judged for more than 4 years now. But like I keep on telling them, there is no need using the same old method of strike to make demands. There was a demand on strike in 2017. There was in 2018 strike. There was in 2019 spilling over into 2020. No. I told them that
Honorable Minister.
Everything has gone digitalized.
Honorable Minister.
So that the best thing for us.
Yeah, Honorable Minister, we will go on a break. Honorable Minister, just a moment. We'll go on a break now, but when we come back, there are a list of issues. We are hoping that the students will get back to the classroom. You've given us a background of how the whole problem started and what you're doing to resolving the problems. But we take a break. When we come back, we'll be asking you the way forward in all of these stalemate. Don't go anywhere, everyone. We'll be back with that conversation with the Minister for Labor and Employment. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's get back to the conversation with the Minister for Labor and Employment, Senator Chris Ngige, over what is being the partial shutdown of Nigerian universities and having students stay at home, I do, for several months. Honorable Minister, I have a couple of questions within the few minutes that we have left on the program. We'd like you to help us hit them on the nail quickly. The first one being, we need a clarification from you. Few weeks ago, at a meeting with the university lecturers, you said at that meeting in October that if UTAS, which is the University Transparency Accountability Solution, the payroll platform suggested by the university lecturer, that if it passes the integrity test, it will be adopted for the payment of the university staff. Has that payroll platform passed that test?
Yeah, Shaun, I'm not a computer guru, a computer scientist. But even ASU themselves, when they proposed the UTAS and the government accepted, I had told them to put in writing how long they think that this process of passing the integrity test will take. And they wrote 18 months, 1.5 years. So that is what I took. However, when they now came back, they said they worked throughout the COVID period, and so that the software had been developed. That is no longer the 12 months written for 6 months for development and 6 months for tests, that they have an abridgment of time. I was happy. That's why I said they should bring it forward. And they brought it. I have forwarded it to NIDA, and after NIDA, we'll also send it to the National Security Advisor for the security of the system. NIDA has held very long discussions with ASU members. And even as of today, the NIDA DG briefed me on his discussions with ASU, because I have written him a letter 2 days ago, and I said, I need your interim reports, because we cannot sit down like this and be watching. He told me, because I'm not a scientific, technological man of computers, that what ASUS have submitted is for what is called user acceptance test. And that is the first stage, and that's where they are. By that, it means that the document I passed on to him from ASU, which are about 2 documents. One is a software requirement user documents. And the other one is what they call user documentation manual. He told me that these things are the first port of call. After that, they will now move into the functional aspect, which is the software testing. Can this software, what can it carry? Can this software be manipulated? What is the data predisposition of the software and the rest of them all? He said that is the one they call functional requirement of software.
So, Honorable Minister,
and then after, they will now go into the non-functional.
All right. So
into the non-functional, which is the hardware.
Okay. So it does look like that platform, the payroll platform, is not yet ready. So it cannot be used. That's what you're explaining to us. So let's go into another issue.
Of the matter, it is not yet ready.
Okay. So, but we do not know when
However,
it can
we
be
don't
ready.
want to discourage ASU.
Okay. So let me quickly ask you,
let the
because
test
these are
go.
some of the agitation of ASU. The lecturers say many of them are being owed several months of salaries. Is this true, and why so?
There are three categories of lecturers. One group are the group that have gone on to IPs that are receiving their money. And as confirmed by the Accountant General office in the meeting, those people are receiving their money, except that they have not been paid for, I think, September and October. Most civil servants have not been paid for October, and a lot of them are even for September. So it's of general application. But those of them that went on to the IP's platform, about they put their figure at about 50% of lecturers or whatever, they are receiving their money. Another category are those who have not gone on to IPs. But during the presidential compassionate approval for them to receive money, even though they say they're on strike, to alleviate the COVID torture on many homes and families, we said to the president, sign that we pay these people even though they say they're on strike. We should not apply Section 43 of no work, no pay. After all, some Nigerians are being given money as palliative. So let us give to ASU members and their families. And President approved. As a matter of fact, they approved their 2 months. But they were paid 5 months. The bosses supplied their BVN, and the Accountant General's office paid them through the IP's platform. They captured them on IP's platform and paid them. So if you look at it strictly census, those groups are on IPs. So there is another category of people not captured on IPs at all, and who even have refused to submit all their data to the boss's office. Those are the people that have not received money. But by last week, we gave instruction to the Accountant General through the finance minister that we need to pay people, all categories of people.
All right.
So they're even proposing
Senator Ngige,
that they will make the portal available online.
All right, Minister, because we're out of time now, and I have these two short questions,
Yes.
and I hope that within the next 40 seconds, you might be able to help us answer it. The students have joined their voices in the agitations, and they have issued a 7-day ultimatum to the federal government and warned that if no resolution is made, the government should get ready to face a national agitation by the student bodies. Are you prepared for such a scenario, or you will end the strike before then?
When we get to the bridge, we'll cross it. The students you're talking about includes my children. I have 3 at home. My children are in public school, public universities. Lagos University, University of Abuja, and one just graduated at Oka. Because the teachers there, medical teachers, they went to teach, consultants. They say that they're not on IP's platform, so they will go and teach. So you don't give a dog a bad name to hang it. Why are they going to revolt
Minister,
against the federal government that has bent backwards to do all the recent things?
If Nigerians can get your word tonight, because these students staying at home is not helping. They are idle, and we know what could come out of this. So what can you tell Nigerians tonight? What everybody wants to see is that the universities will be open, and the students will get back to the classroom.
Well, we are going to negotiate again. Shaun, you see, even if countries go to war, at the end of the day, you come to negotiation table. That's it. That's it. So, I'm inviting them next week. We are doing government side meetings and collating everything. I've collated from NIDAT, and by Monday, they'll give me their time for everything. I'm collating from Accountant General's office. I'm collating from everybody who has something to do with this matter.
So,
And I
Honorable
bring that
Minister,
to the
we
table.
may not be able to
I still have
see,
to realize
we may not be able to see the lecturers go back to the classroom maybe in another 1 or 2 weeks. That's what we're looking at, isn't it?
I'm not looking at that period. I'm not. I'm an optimist on this matter. By next week, we'll conclude this matter.
All right.
There are so many options left.
So we'll be
We
looking
are
forward
by
to
labor
that and
laws.
hoping that things will be
The labor
resolved.
laws are there. I have options left to me in the labor laws.
All right.
I'm a
Honorable Minister,
conciliator. If
we're
the
obviously out
conciliation
of
is
time.
above me, I have other channels.
All right. Honorable Minister for Labor and Employment, Senator Chris Ngige, thank you so much indeed for talking to us, and we hope that this stalemate will be resolved and quickly too. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thank you very much, Sharon. Thank you, Nigerians.
Well, that's our show tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye-bye.